Hi everybody, welcome back to Journey with Arrows and welcome to another how-to video. Welcome back everybody, thank you very much for joining us today on another how-to video. So today we are looking at self nocks, how to cut them, how to cut a nock safely, and tools and the methods in which you can use to make your own self nocks on your own arrows at home. And the best bit of all, you don't need a workshop to do this in, you can do this purely at your kitchen table. So we will be diving in to a little tutorial on how I cut my little self nocks here, how you guys can do that and make it look clean and tidy the same way. And you're not going to need many tools for it whatsoever. So before we dive in, big thank you to everybody who's been joining the YouTube page and the Facebook page. So thank you to all you new subscribers. I've hit that little bell button and joined the subscribe and the link button down at the bottom. If you haven't already, please do just take a couple of seconds of your time to hit that like and the subscribe. It helps the channel, it helps me. And we also have an Instagram page and a Facebook page, which is really easy to find, Journey with Arrows. So that's enough of me talking. Let's spin the camera around, we'll get out the equipment, show you what you need, and we'll show you how to cut some self nocks. Alright then guys, so equipment wise, we're going to do this whole process using a Dremel. I apologise for the light and it's not great in here. We're going to do this whole process of cutting nocks using a Dremel. So the first thing you're going to need is a Dremel. You can do it with hand files, so everything I'm about to show you, you can do with hand files. It does take a lot longer. Obviously the purpose for this video is to show you a quick way of doing it without making too much mess. And it's a very quick way of getting proficient with cutting nocks like these. And all you're going to need is a 30mm cutting wheel. We have a 3mm drill bit. And then we've got two little engraving tools. One of them is a little cone shape, if we can get a focus on that. There you go. And the other one is just a little cylindrical engraver around the top as well. These two, not so much important. These are the ones that kind of replace what you can do with a file, but it's much quicker to put it through a Dremel. So to begin with, we're going to take our arrow shaft. Now the most important thing is that you will notice you have a grain that runs through this arrow. Can we get that on camera? Can we get it? So here we go. So you can see the grain that's running through the wood here. When you cut a nock into the end of your arrow shaft, it is incredibly important that you cut your nock, your first nock cut, against the grain. It does not want to be running the same direction as the grain. The reason for this is that when it comes into the bowstring and you have all that pressure, if you're putting pressure down the side of the grain where it runs, then it will split, or you drastically increase the chances of your arrow shaft splitting. Most of you might know this who have been involved in archery for a long time. If you're new, check your grain at the front. I don't know if we can get this to focus, let's have a look. You might just get it. I'll put a picture up with a little diagram there so you can see it on the video. Cut your nock against the grain, so the opposite way to the grain, and this is going to be the orientation of your nock. So to do that, all we're going to do is take our 30mm cutting wheel and put it into the end of our Dremel here. Now conveniently, with a 30mm wheel, the 15mm circumference, or the diameter of the side, is actually how far we're going to cut into the arrow shaft. It's a very convenient depth to cut this into there. We'll do it this way. So here, certainly for the arrows that I make, it's a perfect depth to cut your nock. So we'll spin the camera around. We'll show you this. It might be a little bit awkward to film. But you'll get the idea of it, and I'm sure you'll be able to replicate it. So we'll spin this around and we'll get underway. So what I've done for you guys, is, as you've just seen in the photograph, is that I've just taken a pen and I've marked along the length here. That little black line is the line that we're going to be cutting on, and that's running in the opposite direction to the grain of the arrow shaft. And that means that we're going to get a solid butt against any pressure that's going to be coming down the shaft. and it can make it a lot safer and prevent this arrow from splitting. And very, very important, make sure you get that grain in the opposite direction to where you're going to be cutting your nock. Otherwise your arrows are useless. You might as well put them in the bin. So we've mounted in our rotary wheel. We're only cutting 15 mils from the edge of the blade into the center here, which, as mentioned, is quite convenient for the depth of the nock that's going to be cut. So we'll point the camera down, we'll crack on with that. I would highly recommend eye protection. You will get little bits of wood that fly off, especially if you're using a power tool like this. It's going to come out at some speed. I don't have any eye protection, I don't have any goggles. I do have my sun gigs, so let's crack on. Just take your time with it, guys, go nice and slow, there's no rush here. So as easy as that, we have just cut our little nock line going in. This is our starting point. We can just free up any burrs we got on the edge, take a little bit of sandpaper. There we go, and that's your starting point. So all we're going to do next step, we're going to switch out the cutting wheel and we're going to replace it with our 3mm drill bit. So the next step is going to be using our 3mm drill bit, which I've just mounted into my Dremel. At the base of this nock here, at the base of our nock, if I was to draw a circle, that's where we're going to be drilling. So you don't want to be drilling with the top of your drill bit at the bottom of your nock, because you're going to end up with a hole that's lower down than the depth of your nock that you just cut here. So I want the bottom side, if you like, or the right hand side of my drill bit to be touching the bottom part of my nock. And this is going to go all the way through. Now this will be a lot easier if you had maybe like a drill press. I feel like I've got reasonably good at doing it on my lap now. You obviously want to make sure when you cut this line, especially if you're using a round blade like I did, that the length of this cut here is the same as it is on the other side. You don't want to leave one side higher than the other, otherwise you're going to end up with a cut that goes on a funny 40 degree or 45 degree angle, and you're going to have to go back and switch out your blade to drop this down so that you have an even horizontal cut across. So if my pen's here at this hole, as it comes over, it's level with that hole. Okay, so all we're going to do now, we're going to take our drill bit and we're just going to literally drill straight down through there. So all we're going to do now, guys, is I prefer to do this section with my forearm holding the arrow shaft. My left arm can provide some support at the top, and I can simply drill straight down through this way. It's really important that you let the drill bit work and don't force it, don't put too much pressure down on it, because you will split either side of the nock that you've just cut. So if you've got a nice sharp drill bit, that certainly helps. If you've got a Dremel where you can change the speed on it, perfect. You can also do this with a small drill. Obviously make sure that you've got a nice small drill bit. The reason why I use a 3mm is because it's pretty much the same diameter as my bowstring. It's a little bit smaller than my bowstring, and the reason why I go a little bit smaller is by the time we've opened out the width of this nock here, and to allow the bowstring to pass in, is that it will give that little kind of click sound, which stops your arrow from falling off the bowstring. So all I'm going to do now is just drill straight down through there, and again make sure that you're going down straight, don't go in at an angle, take your time with it, make sure you've got it nicely lined up and hold it nice and firm. It would probably help if I tightened up my drill bit, wouldn't it? It's another thing to do, guys, make sure that your drill bits and whatever it is that you're using nice and tight. I might turn one the wrong way. We did nothing. Let's go again. as that. So that's what you'll end up with. Okay. And now all we're going to do is switch back to our little rotary braid. So we've got our nice little bowstring holes cut there either side. And all I'm going to do now is swap back to the rotary blade. And I'm going to be coming back in here, but instead of cutting in, I'm going to let it sit in. I'm going to start moving up and down. So I'm going to use the top part of my rotary blade and the bottom part, which are sanding planes, to start to widen the width of this cut that was made initially. It's important to ensure that you try and keep both ends here. I'll bring this closer. It's important to ensure that you can keep both ends here the same width. You don't want to take too much off of one side and leave one side really thin, and vice versa. So take your time with it. All I'm going to be doing is moving this up and down ever so slightly to widen it. Now I know roughly how wide it needs to be for it to fit my bowstring. If you're unsure after you've made a few cuts for a while, all you need to do is just test it against your bowstring and see where it goes. So we shall crack on with that and I'll demonstrate that for you. Safety goggles, everybody. One thing that I like to do is every now and again rotate the arrow shaft 180 and exactly the same on the other side. What that does is ensure that not only do you take the same off on the top and the bottom, but also from left to right. They just love hyperlapse. So we have cut the width here. Now this is the first cut that I've made, or the first stage of opening up that I have done. All I'm going to do now, I think that might be roughly where I need to be, but I'm just going to double check it against my bowstring. So it's still a little bit tight. It does fit in, but it needs to be opened up a little bit more. So let's carry on. There we go. A little click. Okay, so that's perfect. Now you could just leave your knock like that if you wanted to. That would do the job. If you feel like you want to just leave it like that and be done with it, then by all means. But there's a few extra things that I like to do, which I'm going to show you how to do now. So there are loads of knock styles and different variations that you can cut, that you can do, that you can choose. Now, as mentioned, you could leave that as it is, keep it incredibly simple. If you don't want to do any more than that, absolutely fine. That is a perfectly usable knock. You can put your fluff feathers on it and fletch them and do what you need to do. However, you can round them off, like on these ones. These are the tips here, which is really easy to do. You can use this same process if you have feathers that have the horn inlay through them, like this one here. Is that going to focus? There you go. My camera's not great. I'm due a phone upgrade soon, so you can get a new one. Or you can tulip them, like the tops of this one here, which is going to be a set that's going to be available for sale coming up on Facebook soon. These are just in the middle of being made. So if you're in the market for any 55-pound draw weight arrows, 32 inches, self-nock, these will be fully fletched and painted. So this arrow that we're doing now, I'm going to tulip shape it like this. So we're going to get that little V shape at the top. It's a little bit like a speed knock. So if you're needing to feel for which way around the arrow needs to go, you can feel for the little tulips. You can click it in, the string will just fall in, and you're there straight away, whether you're doing 3 fingers or if you're doing thumb release. Works exactly the same. So you can round them off very easy. The easiest way to go about rounding off, I use a little sanding wheel, like a little drum, and just in the Dremel again, I just roll off the tops of the arrow. So where you've got the wedge here across the top, I'll just roll put my sanding drum over the top on the sanding belt, just to round them off. Take a little bit of fine grit paper and just sand it down so that it's nice and smooth. Really easy to do. Really easy to do. But we are going to be, this one here. We're going to be tulip knocking this one. So let's crack on. Let's put these to one side because they are not today's video. And I'll show you how to go about doing this. Now, since we've already got the rotary wheel still attached, we might as well use this first before we go on to the next step. And all I'm going to do here is come in on a 45-degree angle. So if the arrow shaft was straight, I'm going to come in on a 45-degree angle on the inside of the nock there. You can probably just see it on that angle. And I'm going to use the flat side of my sanding wheel just to file that back and create that V shape on both sides. Oops, I do apologise. Just like that. It's really easy to do. It doesn't take anything special. If you want to keep the dark edges, you can do. Otherwise, you can just file them off, sand them off with a little bit of sandpaper there. Really easy to do. If you're going to be painting them, then you're not going to see it anywhere. So that's really easy to do. That'll help with your string naturally flowing into the nock as you're knocking an arrow. Anyway, so we've got that cut. That's the most difficult bit of the entire process. To begin with, you might find that that's going to take you a little while to get au fait with, but I mean, you get used to it pretty quick. I managed to do 24 self-knocked arrows yesterday. It was done reasonably quick. So all I'm going to do now, I am going to take my little cylindrical graving tool. I have no idea what it's called, that little thing. And we're going to switch out the Dremel. And just like so. And all I'm going to do is that hole that we cut before, I'm just going to come through here. I'm going to let that Dremel just sand it down on the inside, make it nice and smooth. If you happen to have slightly misaligned your initial drill bit, then you can use the side of this just to open up that circle on both sides of your cut where you've widened it, just to make it a little bit more symmetrical on both sides. As easy as that. And then we're going to get rid of that piece and we're going to swap it out for our cone, our little cone shaped piece here. Now this bit is entirely up to yourself as to whether or not you decide you want to go ahead and do this. The reason why I like doing what I'm about to do, let me just show you. Let's take this nice war arrow. So if you look on, can I show you this on camera? I might have to do it this way with the light in here. On the underside of the nock, there's a little groove. You can probably just see it there. Now the reason why I like to put these in is if you have your bowstring and you obviously mount your arrow, as you pull back, your bowstring flexes around your arrow. Believe it or not, putting a little groove in like that helps relieve some of the tension that's going down the center point of your nock. So by putting that in, you actually give a channel for your bowstring to sit through, and it's a little bit cleaner on release. The weight, the force distribution is a little bit more kind of evenly loaded, if you like, and it looks cooler. I mean, they did do it. It is a historical thing. It's really easy to do. You can do it with a hand file. If you have a hand file, you can literally just sit there and you can file it in. That's really easily done. With a cone drill like that, you can literally go bzz, bzz, and it's done. So that's all we're going to do. We're going to do it on this tulip nock, on this one here, and all I'm going to do is come in from the underside of the bottom of the nock here, and we're just going to come in on like a 40-degree angle here, and just basically let the tool do its thing. It literally is as easy as that, and then all I'm going to do is take a little bit of sandpaper, just file down the rough edges of all the cuts that we've made. I always prefer to use fine grit. If you fold it in half, you can get it between your nock, and you can just tidy up any burrs and spurs that you might have. Take off the top. And there you have it. Literally, it's as easy as that. And by the time you've put some sanding paper over it enough and you've smoothed it all out, especially when you get some arrow varnish on there, some arrow shaft varnish, then that'll really, really pop. And it's good to go. So all I'm going to do is just sit there with some sanding paper. We just smooth off any burrs that are in there. But that's literally good to go. That is a perfectly good nock. It's safe, it's cut correctly. You can obviously play around with the shape of the nocks. Some people like to taper them here at the back end if you're making like flight arrows. But for a very basic, simple, quick nock, that is the easiest way that I know of going about doing it. So obviously this hasn't been varnished or anything. This one has. This has had varnish on. And the only difference being is whereas this one here has been cut as a tulip shape at the top, this one's just been rounded off. But as you can see there, when the varnish comes on, it really does make it pop. So guys, that's it for today's how-to video. A very quick video on how to cut self-nocks. I hope some of you have a little bit of something, or if not all of it, that you can take away from that video and either learn how to cut self-nocks, or practice self-nocks, or get better at doing self-nocks. It's all just practice. My first ones started off absolutely atrociously, really, really bad. It just takes a little time and a little practice, as with anything really, as it does with the shooting. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is a quick one. It's chucking it down outside today, so there's been no means of getting out and doing any shooting. I've been away on holiday and just come back from Portugal, which was incredible. But there is a competition coming up this Sunday down at Spirit of Sherwood. I'm hoping to get some video footage done. I still haven't got a hold of a new camera or a tripod or anything yet, but we're going to wing it. We'll see what we can do. And as I said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, then please do just hit that like button down at the bottom, hit the subscribe for Journey with Arrows on Instagram, certainly on YouTube if you can do, because that helps a lot. We get thousands of people seeing our reels, and we get hundreds, sometimes thousands of people seeing the videos as well. If each and every one of you could just hit the like or the subscribe button, then that would be absolutely incredible. So if you've stuck with me this long, then I'm hoping you've enjoyed the content. We've got plenty more videos on the page, so feel free to take a scroll down, have a look at the bottom, watch our other videos that are up there as well. And if you do like the content, then please do hit subscribe. Till then, I'll see you next time on Journey with Arrows. Thank you for sticking with me, and hopefully next time I'll see you outdoors when it's not raining. Take care everybody, bye bye.